we will introduce frequency density. We introduced frequency density, and I left you with, I think, 3 examples. I hope they were easy to handle. So, Angela, did you find the example easy to handle? Interesting? What can you say about the assignment? Angela?
Yes, teacher.
How was the histogram? You were comfortable, you drew them, or you didn't get time?
I drew them.
How many did you come up with? 3 of them?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have the rights to share? And I see what people have, but okay. Since the probably I would have loved to see the one for unequal class width, but shall continue and see some of them. So I hope those who are starting with us for the first time, that's our discussion. We want to proceed and raise other issues about, actually we want to conclude the histogram. Basically conclude the histogram. Just a reminder, pick the histogram looked like. Let me pick my, I want to pick the histogram for unequal class width. Since we looked at the one for senior 2 was okay. So let me give some data here. We can say the marks. But I'll make them continuous. I give you marks and give you the frequency. So let's copy this as our example, that you score marks from 40 to 49. So we give ourselves a test, and those are our scores, 50 to 54. Hope my screen is seen. Rahma, hope you're seeing what I'm sharing.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so I'm just emphasizing our example for frequency density as Abdurrahman has raised it, that at senior 6 and 5, this issue is very, very common. So I can give you that, give you a frequency of 13, 15, 10, 15. So we are doing this together. That remind those, probably somebody has joined us today, because last time we were 27 or 6. Now I can see there are some new additional people, all those who missed out. Now, if I give you such a number, that's the data given. Let's say these are results picked from a class in a certain school. Let's say Nagai school. Nagai, you are from which school? Your former school?
Bilal Islamic Institute.
Bilal Islamic. So Naga is from Bilal. So all of us are from different schools. Now, if that was the teacher's data, summary of his results, because our bosses, the HM, need to see how have the students performed. And unlike O level, where you give equal classes, at A level is possible, very common, that I'll give you data in that form. So in this case, I say, can you draw a histogram for the given data? So I want us to draw a histogram for this information given. So, Angela, have we captured the information? Do you all have that somewhere indicated, noted? Because I said with Zoom, with this board, we have the disadvantage that I don't keep the board clean. I love to clean. Unlike Google, where I can use, they have like 20 boards. So here, I'll have to clean. So we need to move together. So if you want to handle this, what will be your way forward? So what do you need? You need to generate either class boundaries. In your working, you can introduce, they can write class boundaries. You'll complete that because I want to minimize my board where you write the class boundaries. I hope you remember this. So can we all generate class boundaries? And finally, I think let me try to change the color for the sake that we're doing. It does not change. Let's change because we are providing solution to be different from the question. Now, one of the things I'll need you to cater for at A level, before you draw a histogram, first ascertain the class size. Martha, is that okay? Ask yourself, how big are these classes? So who can give us, I remember only one gentleman, who can give us the class size for the first one? Nagai, what's the class size here? 40 to 49. How big is that class? Quickly, we are time barred. I came in late. Shamim, you don't know the class size? Rahma, what's the class size?
It is 10, teacher.
It's what?
10.
Yeah, so we have 10. Hope, Shamim, you've seen what we get. Either you do like O level, 49 minus 40 plus 1, or basically say 50 minus 40. It will give you 10. Therefore, the next one, from the information here,
10.
Irene, 10. Next, 40, 50 to 54. Can that be 10? Yeah,
It's 5.
I hope. Yeah, Irene, it should be 5. Now that's the difference between A level and O. With O level, you're used to common classes. Here, we have different, even buildings in the same estate can have different shapes and sizes. Can you mute? Somebody, can you mute? Next will be, next is 5. Are you okay with that? Rahma, the next one, 5?
Yes, teacher.
Then let's see, Catherine. Catherine, give us the next class. How big is it? Catherine. For the use of the board, let me remove myself so that I can use maximum board. Catherine, you are giving us something. Next class. Catherine has failed to speak. Abdurrahman?
15.
15, thanks. Okay. Now the last one. A gentleman apart from Abdurrahman. Who else do we have? Let me check the class. The Abraham. Abraham, Give
Yes, teacher.
us what's the class width of the last class, the class size?
10.
Good. So I want you to realize that you see, unlike O level, at this level, our classes are different. Whereas this is 10, 5, 5, this, and so on. These classes are what? Are different. That makes our work very different. That's why Abraham said we introduce what we call, let me go back to black, because black writes better. We go to what we call frequency density. So those who are present, frequency density is frequency over class size. So you could put it somewhere there. Frequency density is frequency over C. So we get frequency density. And note, frequency density is only used to draw histogram. Outside that, we don't use it to calculate mean, because our next discussion, if we've completed today's work, is about mean and others. So frequency density is only used for histogram. The other one, which I don't want us to go into because of time, we could, instead of frequency density, we could use standard frequency. If you have textbooks, concise, even my pamphlet, you'll see I talk about standard frequency, but I picked for you the best alternative, the easiest. I've gone for frequency density because it's easier to handle than the others. So the frequency density now, you divide 13 by 10, so you'll have 1.3. So can we get the frequency density values? 1.3, then I have 3, we have 2, we have 1, and we have 0.7. So is that okay? So I'm looking at example 1.22, so on page 7. Those who have my book, you'll see it. Now I want to draw and see how it appears, to come up with this sketch, where I said you must have a graph paper. Must have a graph what? A graph paper. Is that okay? So we go to the drawing. We go to the drawing and come up with a histogram. Now we have the information. We need class boundaries and the frequency density. Then we can sketch our histogram. So are we okay with that? Catherine, is that okay? Catherine, Irene, Angela. That was Cynthia last time. Is Cynthia in class?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, Cynthia, you are Catherine. Is
No,
it the
teacher.
same thing? Okay. So is this table okay? We can go to the next. Hope being quiet implies we are on track.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, let me try to share. I wanted a new one. Let me see if it can give me a new board so that I didn't want to rub the previous board. Well, that's the problem with Zoom. I think there's something. So I need to clean this board for my Zoom. Let me clean the board. You already have the data. And for me, I have the information from my book. So I expect that you've taken note. Now I want to draw. But I need to test how these can change without cleaning so that we keep them. So I want now to share another board. Or now the graph. So now, we agreed last time, you come up with your graph, you do the vertical, and you do the horizontal axis. These are done using a ruler, straight line. So we don't use freehand. I mean, I can't use a ruler now, but you should use a ruler so that the work comes out clearly. Now, we come up with our vertical axis. We said we shall put their frequency density. So we come and label frequency density on your vertical. Now you realize from our work, the highest frequency value is 3. So I can come and say, if this is 0.0, sometimes we don't indicate this one, then I could use 0.5 as scale. So our scale in math is not like that of geography, where we write that the scale is this and then 2.5 and finally 3. So have you come up with that scale? Can you come up with a scale on the vertical and you label? Say frequency density. Probably I should have used a different color for the word. Then the horizontal is where you must be careful. We have 39.5, but we must capture up to 84. So what do we normally do? We can keep a scale, a common class. I can go to, so when I'm making a scale, I don't do what you do as students. I pick a scale the way people do construct a house. All the values, you just capture the lowest and the highest. That's what we do with the scale. I think that's enough. Now we're calling this class boundaries. So do we have that? We are having a graph paper, you're putting those values. Now, it's a plot that will decide the sizes. The first is 39.49 and it's 1.3. So 1.3, you come and let me use a different color probably. Let's plot with, we plot with blue. Can blue work? Let's use blue. Though don't do in exams with different colors like your geographers. Geographers are allowed to have different colors, even they shade. Here we may not shade. In math, so long as your bars are very clear. You have that bar and then this one. Since we are using the same color, even this will be in black. It will be the same. So it will appear with blue, isn't it? So I have drawn this. Let me, even this, that is the first. Then the next will be the next. Yeah.
Teacher, I have
Yes.
a question. Why isn't it at exactly 1.3? Why are you putting it in the middle?
No, this is 1.5. So I have to put 1.3 because this is 0.5, 1.5. So it's below 1.5. Yeah, because my scale is 0.5. Is that okay? Thanks.
Yes, teacher.
Then we have 3. The next value is the tallest. So at 3, we have the tallest. This should be, I hope this is accurately my 3. But check out the bar is smaller, it's 5. So this will be smaller. It won't be as big as the first one. So this one will be halfway. Do you notice that? I don't go to 59. Some of you just go up to 59. No, it stops at 54. This was a smaller group, smaller class size. That's why we say histogram with unequal class width. Then the next one is also small, is 2. So at 2, you draw same size like the previous one. So these two should be equal. Mine here look a bit different, but this and that are equal if you're using the graph paper. Then the next one is big, is 15. So this one, which is 15, will be 15 is up to 74. So you go and it's 1. So you have something like this, up to 74. That's another, you see that at A level, we have those different bars, isn't it? And if you check New Vision and what these things happen, even Ugandan population, there are many youth. So if you're drawing a graph, you don't need the same sizes. Some of you have so many youth in this country compared to those above 50. Now the last is 0.7 and it's 10. So 0.7 also is below 1, so I'll estimate it somewhere and I'll put like that. So that one becomes my histogram. So if you are like the geographers, you must put a title, you come and put, oh, histogram. That's the histogram. Though I want to take it back, but it's not agreeing to move. So I hope you've seen what we have done. Okay. So that's our histogram. So do you have that sketch? So I want us to proceed. Now the same will happen if you check the papers. There are those for now the classes when the work is discrete. Actually, this example will be for discrete work. It's for discrete what? Work. But if you check through papers or even last year and the others, they sometimes bring continuous work where we have the less than sign. Should take note of that. I think in our work, I'll check and I give you that work. So I hope that is done. I wanted to end there on the histogram. You can read as many examples as you can. I hope that's a good reminder. Unless you have a question. Unless Rahma, you have something you want to ask. I expected you to do that with that number of 2017.
Okay, teacher.
Rahma?
Yes, teacher.
Are you saying something before we proceed, something different?
No, I have understood.
You've understood. And I hope you represent the others. Now, Abraham, so want to go and say something about 2 things. I thought today this discussion will be about 3 things quickly. In our discussion, I wanted us to talk about 3 things. Having seen the histogram, now the other presentations, the other 2 that we normally talk about. And they're all not new. Okay. Now, I wanted us to quickly mention 3 things, give ourselves an assignment of reminding ourselves about 3. There's what we call frequency polygon. I think some hope you looked at it at O level. There's frequency polygon. There is spine pulsing, a frequency polygon, but that one will come. There's also ogive, and mainly those 2, frequency polygon and ogive, our discussion for today so that we finish. Then in your free time, you can remind yourself about pie chart. Pie chart was once set in mathematics in 1996. They asked people to draw a pie chart, but the working is the same like that of S2. So we should know how to use a pie chart. So those are the remaining 4 things: frequency polygon, then placing frequency polygon on histogram, then a cumulative curve, what you call ogive, cumulative frequency curve. And then you read about pie chart. Then you have finished. Once you handle those, plus a few O-level ones, you'll have handled what we call presentation of data. Now, quickly, I want us to use our very simple example to remind ourselves about frequency polygon. The example we gave in class, it was the easiest, the very simple one. If Rahma, you remember, if you had to go for this first one, I want to pick a simple one that, let's assume those people in class, you have the following weights. We said girls want to be small. So Irene, Rahma, Cynthia, they all want to be very, very small human beings. They don't want to eat a lot, isn't it? In senior 6 VAC, Rahma, do you know how many clothes you have?
Yes, teacher.
How many kilograms do you have? You know your weight.
45.
Don't you see now we've catered for you? So all girls, if I do this, I'll capture between 40 and 60. Those are the weights for the girls. They want to be small. They are not like Abdurrahman and others. The guys want to be bouncers. Not okay? Now the people for Tigambia, so parents want people who can bounce off and fight with those people who are slaughtering people, isn't it? So girls, for you want to hide in the house. You don't want to fight. Now, using that data, I think that's those who are present on Wednesday. I want us to make that. It's easy one. I want us to draw histogram. No, a frequency. Want to do this. So I want us, we're going to do a frequency polygon and an ogive, those 2 for this data, so that we make it easy for starters. And I think we did this in our senior course. So if you want a frequency polygon, I'll straight away go to the graph that you get your vertical and your horizontal. And then put the frequency here. You'll have, can say 1 up to 16, so you can say 0. We can use 2, 4, 6, 8. So that is frequency. That's what? Vertical, you label frequency. Come the horizontal, we normally use class boundaries. But when you are drawing a frequency polygon, you are advised to add some 2 classes. Frequency polygon, when it's being done at A level, They say a polygon is a closed figure. So when I'm going to start here, I'll add a class. So I'll come and add for you a class of here. So put a class here of 35, 39, but with no people, zero frequency. Ram, have you seen that? When you're drawing a frequency polygon, if you want it to be closed, you will introduce additional classes, 2 of them, one at the beginning and the other one at the end. So if I'm going to put at the end, I'll put this. So have you seen that? Abdul Rahman, is that okay?
Yes, sir.
And the one after. With zero frequency, they don't count. They are not there. So when you're planning your scale, then the 39.5, 44.5, I hope I've lost my work. My network seems disappeared for a second. So we've lost, but I hope you captured what I was talking about. Rahma?
Yes, teacher.
Did you capture the information I'm using? Okay, because that's the bad thing with the Zoom, things can disappear. And so I lost, but now we're talking about a graph and we're doing a frequency polygon, we're constructing. Seems I stopped with red. So I'm starting with red. Let me take it back to black. So I'd put figures. We said you wanted up to 16, so we said 0. If you want to write the 0, though most people don't write the 0. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So Angela, hope you have this. And you're calling this frequency.
Yes, teacher.
Do you have that? Do you have a graph paper with your graph book? Or you're borrowing from your sister in primary? Do you have a graph paper? Angela?
Yes, teacher.
Do you have a graph paper?
Yes, teacher, I have.
So are you done with the horizontal axis? Because math is hands-on, we do together. You don't copy, in math, they don't copy what the teacher has done. You compare what you have with what the teacher, if you want to get an A straight away, if you want to be a girl, you get it? You label these class boundaries. Class what? Boundaries. So that's our scale, isn't it? Now, when you come to plotting, what's a frequency polygon? A frequency polygon is obtained by plotting class. We plot class max against the frequency. So frequency against class max. Are we there? So we need to know where the class marks are if you are plotting a frequency polygon. We need to know where the class marks. So even though I put class boundaries, actually you find in other books, they'll put for you class marks. Even me, once in a while, I can put for you class marks. So it's either class marks. Actually, in the example I have, I use purely class marks. I don't show class boundaries anywhere. But either way, there is no problem. Whether you have class boundaries or class marks, it can do. The only point is the position. So where do you plot? Our first mark is between 40 and 44. The class mark is, so a class mark is between. So you come and plot the 3 here in between. So I'll put a mark between 40 and 44. That's my first mark. Then the next will go to 10 is between 45. So you come and put 10. Then 16 is between this. You come and put 16. Then you come and put the 10 again, because we said this 1, 2, 3. Now we are here, is 10. And then you put lastly the 4 here, above the 3. So you get a ruler. So I hope those who are plotting get a ruler and join using a straight line. Don't use freehand, since most of you are now 18. They say people who are 18, you do a lot of wrong things. You deceive your parents, so you cannot draw a straight line at 18 and above. Angela, is that true? So you cannot do a straight line with free hand. You need a ruler. Now, when you do like that, you can see my histogram, my frequency polygon. I'm saying this is a frequency polygon. It's hanging. You can see it's not closed, so it's not a polygon. For something we call a polygon, we want it closed. So what do? We take it to the other classes, the one of 0 frequency. So you bring it from here up to there, the middle, to close it up. So those were the 2 points created here and there to help us close the polygon. Help us close the polygon. So have you seen my polygon? Nagai, have you seen what we call a polygon?
Yes, teacher.
Have you drawn yours? Yours should look better than mine because you have a graph paper. Mine is on the blackboard. I'm not using a graph paper. I'm not using a squared paper. Actually, if I had Illustrator, I should have shown you. Probably next time I'll show you these graphs when my book I've used the Illustrator. They're very beautiful. I'll show you probably next time quickly. So I'll take off 5 minutes and you see these graphs when they're on something like a graph paper. They should not be on free paper like that. So if this is done, I want to use the same space and I spine post for you histogram. Rahma, is that done?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. Now, most questions say, draw a histogram and spine pose a polygon. If that question normally appears, they want you draw a histogram with a frequency polygon. So I can use this and I add a histogram from the information we have. Already we drew the histogram for this. When you come here and do like this, let's use red. Let me put for you using blue, since some of you are for FDC. So if you come to your frequency polygon and you do like this. You use the class boundaries. This was 3. And do like this. You see that I have a bar there for now, the first. I'll come up with this bar. I'll come up with another bar here. I'll come up with another bar here. So we can generate a histogram very easily from you see that now I've generated a frequency polygon and histogram. So this, so for you, I need two graphs. I need a graph when Nagai and others. I need the first graph when it's only a frequency polygon. Then the second graph is when you have a histogram and a frequency polygon imposing. So you'll get in some books where they will. So when a histogram is drawn first and you place a frequency drawn and then you place the histogram, you call serious statistics, that if they want to find out whether the work you've done is normally distributed, does it have some bit of distribution? Like this would be good. The one things in life should be normally distributed. The mean should be in the middle, should be at the center, and then the extreme. So in terms of weight, we should have very few light people and very few, we have 120. That becomes not a normal distribution for some people. They will think we have a problem via weight. Hope we get that. So this normally, a frequency polygon is normally whatever you pick data. When you hear in people discussing what the data are good enough, they try to put histogram and fit to see, and then they try to put a curve. Actually, later they will, in statistics like engineers, will try to come up with a normal curve. Though now that's a topic for, you'll get into your school, what we call a normal curve in mathematics. Close that aspect of where the classes are unequal, still you can impose, it will work, isn't it? So, Angela, can we go to cumulative curve, where we need to see 2 examples, and then I'll send you the work for you to try. Though I'll give one example again for here, which will encompass all. Can have histogram, cumulative curve, all of them. I think it was done in 2014. I think 2014 we could have that, around 2014. You can ask for a cumulative curve. At the same time, we can come up with the histogram from the given data. So, Angela and others, we want to proceed and have, we've seen the frequency polygon, now want to see the So Rahma, I hope no questions about that. I hope it's okay.
Yes, teacher.
Okay. I saw Daniela. Is the Daniela you know? I used to know Daniela. I saw there used to be somebody called Daniel, isn't it? Now, we've talked about frequency polygon and spine pulsing. Now we said in S2 you talked about ogive, or we can call it cumulative frequency curve. Cumulative frequency curve. It'll be there. So again, we want to use our information to come up with a cumulative curve. So our ogive is plotted by, or is obtained by plotting class frequencies against class boundaries. It's obtained by plotting class frequencies against class boundaries. That's how we plot a cumulative frequency curve. Quickly, I'm going to give two examples here, because social another, as histogram is very common, this one is also a very common problem at A level. Actually, right now, with what we have discussed, you can try a number and get close to 5 marks or even 8 in most papers because of histogram and cumulative curve. So if we go back to our information, the one we started with, the one of weight, I hope, isn't it? I want us to plot the cumulative curve for it. So already we have our weights. These are our weights. And our giant is probably Martha. Martha, how many kilograms do you have? Irene, do you know how portable you are, how heavy you are? You don't know. Rahma gave us 45. I thought Rahma was heavy. Abdurrahman, how many kilograms?
70.
How many? You don't know. 70. You serious? You serious? Yeah, you're good guy, isn't it? So we want an ogive. So if you want an ogive, one, at least we must get cumulative frequency. So we plot cumulative frequency. I hope I said the definition. Cumulative frequency versus class boundaries. People will even insist upper class boundaries. Though the plot is very critical, what you plot is what we take. It must be the class boundaries. So here, we have to get the cumulative frequency. 29. This is 39, okay? 39 and the 43. Is that okay? We have 43. Agreed? So when you're plotting, you still have the same concept. Bring here the class boundaries. Get your graph paper, put 39.5, 44.5, 49.5, 54.5, 59, and finally 64. And you are calling these class boundaries. It help you what values to plot against what. Now here we still have 0. So cumulative, now we can say, will I use 5? It may not work for me. Let me use 10. 10, 20. I've used the bit in between, allow 45 in between the box. So you must be scale 10, 10, 10, 10. Where I put 45 is halfway. Actually, I should have put it using another scale, but 45 helped me cater for the 43. Now our plot, so you're going to label this as cumulative frequency on the vertical. Some people use CF, others use capital F, depending. But you can write the word cumulative frequency. Now, you must be careful when you're plotting that why you call it upper, 39.5 has no value. Nobody in our class here is below 40. So 39.5 has 0 frequency. That's why I call it upper class boundary. This is 344 because it's upper, the upper value. 49.5 is the upper for the second. We give it 13. We come and put 13 in there. Then 54.5, 54.5. Then 59 is 39. And then finally 64 is 43. So below 45. Now, unlike the other graph, ANOGIVE is an increasing graph. It's actually a graph showing eliminating whether you want to chop a class, you want to chop workers at a company, they use this. It can indicate people who are overpaid, who are underpaid, whatever category, overweight, people are. So questions that will follow if you check how many people earn above their decile, all those come under here. So this one is called ANOGIVE. This one is called what? ANOGIVE. So this, my graph here is starting from 0. Should be at 0 here. So, Rahma, I hope you've seen, and others. Abraham.
Yes, teacher.
Are you okay with the OGIVE?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. Now, so that is the simplest. I think we had it next to. But now I wanted to pick a number. If you go to, I didn't carry my question book bank, but if you check your question book bank, there are 2 numbers there in 2016 or 14. They can, what they at times do, they give information already in, they give you what you call continuous work in boundary form. And they ask you to plot. So they already give you something. So I'm going to use this example and I'll ask for that. Shall you use this example and do the cumulative curve at the same time do the histogram? That's when the last time they sent 2014, students could not go backwards. The classes were not seen. So I want us to discuss that one, and then I don't know which person have it. I'll tell Mr. Sendal I'll share with you my page for exercise, page 20, so that you do all those numbers. There are 7 of them. Actually, there are 9. But let me pick out one for you. Already I gave you the one for 2017. Let me pick one here on page 21 for discussion. Let's get a question. For us to discuss. It's more of a summary for today's work. We can do the cumulative curve histogram. I'm going to update that question and modify it so that we use it to summarize our work for today. Since we have, I think I'm stopping at 11 since we started late. I hope you'll have some resting time to go for another lecture. They will give you some 5 minutes. So this number, I'll just give a summary of what it is. It said, you can listen carefully. Hope you're listening. Those with my book, it's on page 21. It says, the cumulative frequency table shows the ages in years of employees of a certain company. So we can, let me make it vertical, it's horizontal, but for the sake of space, let me make it horizontal, like vertical. And then they say this is cumulative frequency. So I'll put CF. Oh, sorry. Fast. Okay. So they put for them, there was under 15. Those who are under 15, the number was 0. They put under 20. Under 20, the number was 17. Under 30, the number was 39. Under 40 was 69. Under 50, 87. Then under 60, under 60, 92. Here, I think it's in one of the, when probably you are in your senior 1 or P7. They said, now I'm going to add my other parts, but they said first part, use the data in the table to draw a cumulative frequency curve, to draw the ogive. Rahma, do we have the figures? Because I lost.
Yes, teacher. Teacher, you're muted.
Is some other teacher joining? That's why I'm off. What's the problem? Rahma.
Yes, teacher.
Rahma.
Yes, teacher.
Have the 10 minutes to complete this. I want to discuss this so that you plan for the next lesson, isn't it? Is that okay?
Yes, teacher.
Otherwise, my network is off and on. I don't know what has happened. Because I want straight to go to the graph, ogive, because I wanted us to get an ogive. We draw a histogram, because where the challenge would be, say, draw an histogram. When the data is that form, is where you have to come up with the ogive. Basically, do your vertical and your horizontal. The boundaries were already given. You basically come and say 15, 20, 25. You pick a scale of your choice which will capture the lowest and the highest. And the Rahman and Cynthia and all the others, you see here, because of continuous, I've not put for you 14.5. Less than 15 means 15 at A level. You get note of that? These
Yes,
are
sir.
class boundaries.
Yes, teacher.
So you don't write 14.5 anywhere. Here, when you have less than, at A level, less than still includes the 15. We say that work is continuous, like we discussed last Wednesday. So I've given you that on the horizontal axis. Then on the vertical, I want to capture the lowest to the highest. Probably I'll use 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Be coming up with yours, because you know our network, we are in Africa, so things can move. This is CF, cumulative frequency. Is that okay? So I hope you have that on your graph paper, CF, but you should write it in detail, cumulative frequency. I'll put it in short to save time. Now our plot is 15 had 0. So the first point, if I'm to use blue, let me use red, since some of you are in red. So you have 15 is at 0, 20 has 17, 20 has 17. Then the next you can see, we don't have 25. So you don't go and plot at 25. The next figure is 30. So even cumulative covers an equal class, but we don't do it like a histogram. We don't bring frequency density. We just do the scale form. So now we go to 30 instead of 25. So you skip the 25, you don't give it a point. You go to 30 and give it 39. Hope you've seen what I've done. There is a bigger space here now. Then from there we go to 40. So you skip 35, go to 40. Isn't it? 40 has 69. Then From 40, we go to 50. 50 has 87. Then 60 has 92. And finally, now we have those that equal 65. So which means these two are close, 98. Now do you see my graph? It has 2 points are close, these two are close, but in between, there are space. That's how we test to see whether you know how to use scale. I've been in position to do that because I'm good at my scale. I plan my scale here. Then now we join. If let's use blue, you can use blue and join. Joining, I said you use smooth, use a smooth curve. Don't join using a ruler. Some of you use Excel and you use lines. That's now a line graph. That's more of a line graph. So you should use a smooth curve and this value should be joined properly. So this is what we call an ogive or cumulative frequency curve. Now later, like that here, they can say obtain the median and the others. Probably that will come under the section of median and the others. But now we want, so that's one aspect. You see now cumulative curve for continuous work. Now I wanted us to do histogram and probably spine posing as we close this work. I will close presentation of data. So I want to, Cynthia, this time we have Shifra. Who is Shifra? Shifra, have you been in or just joined? You've been there? Shifra. Mr. Sendala told me this class has many boys. Today I see many girls. What happened to the boys? Where did the boys, Rahma? Where did the boys go? Because I can see all boys, all girls.
I don't know.
They went to eat.
Abdurrahman is and Abraham is Felix. Felix is a guy, isn't it? So it's really, ladies, you better, Rahma, better talk to the boys and they come in class, because a country without boys in school is a dangerous one. You'll have overqualified ladies without men, isn't it? Rahma, you'll be overqualified with the medicine, and yet your husband is a border ride of P7, isn't? And that's scary. Rahma, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You need in your group to have at least half. The boys, they like chewing their money. They are given money for internet, and they basically use it for other things. Now, we want a histogram for this work. So what do? You have to go back and create two things now. I'm going to create classes. There was cumulative frequency. I'll have to create frequency. So why that number becomes a problem for most of the students is you have cumulative frequency, you want to use it without to plot a sum. Yet, this is cumulative frequency. Let me first write them quickly, because without you seeing them, you may not easily come up. 30. Okay, so that the network is, I don't know if it's like electricity, it's going back to the source every other time. But even I wanted to change that table. Let's put the edge. So immediately you have the edge and this, the CF. We had to change this into first. So Irene, you have this, all of you have this. Abdurrahman. We have this information, isn't it? Not here. So what do I want you to do? 17, 39, add 69, 87, 92, and 98. So what do you do first? You have to create classes for the age. Have to generate classes. Then if you generate the classes, they also have to have frequency. Now, as you create classes, this first one is, since it has 0, we don't normally put it because there is nobody under 15. So our first class, you can create it as 17 to under 20. That's our first class with 17 students. Have you seen my first question? My first generation of the class is from 15 to 20, becomes our first class. Unless if there was a figure. If you check in the year after, either 2015, under 15 had a figure. There, then you create that class. Now, that's something, I think when Mr. Sender will send you the work, I will see what you'll do. If there was a 2 here, then you needed a class there. But if there is 0, you don't need a class because nobody is under 15. People are starting from 15 and above. So I've created that. The next class becomes 20 to under 30. Then the other one is 30 to under 40. So HS, this is a common question that appeared into a big problem because people are used to being given the classes. So here, the classes were indirect, they were hidden. So people could not calculate the mean. I'll ask for the mean and the others. They used age as the class mark, which is wrong. You had to create classes. Now also, next point is frequency. We get frequency by, cumulative frequency is got by adding. So you can work backwards by subtracting. So it says 39 minus 17. What do you get? 39 minus 17, 20. Do you see up 22?
Pardon?
We get frequency by subtracting. 39 minus 17 gives you the frequency. 69 minus 39 gives you the frequency here. Are you together with me?
Yes, teacher.
Then 87 minus 69. What do we have? 87 minus, what? 87 minus 69?
18.
18.
18. Okay. Then 92 minus 87?
5.
5.
5. And 98 minus 92, you get 6. Okay? So
yes.
This question involves that. But again, I said you want histogram. So if you want histogram, I said this morning, you must look at the class size first, if you are drawing histogram, to see whether are the classes equal or different. So the class size here is 5. Hope you remember. This is 10. This is 10. This is 10. This is 10. And this is 5. Now, Abdurrahman, we go into what you said in the morning. When the classes are different, what do? We get frequency what?
Frequency density.
Frequency density. Is that okay? So you have to get now, divide 17 by 5, what do we get? 3.4, 2.2, 3.0, 1.8, 0.5, and 1.2. So we plot now. You're going to plot this. So we must take care as we wind up this section of presentation. All what we are discussing is presentation of data using bar chart, histogram, frequency polygon, frequency curve. But I've outlined, emphasized the two more. Cumulative curve and histogram, the very, very, very vital, and they give students challenges. Can check, I will check last year's paper and see. So I think time is not on my side. I want to end there today. You'll draw that histogram, but I'll ask Mr. Sendaola to send you work. By now, you should be in position to do my first exercise on page. I saw some one or two of you have the book. You go to page 20 up to 22. There are 9 numbers there. We picked some. I've already answered about, I've already given you number 7. Now we have discussed 5 is what we are discussing. Now you do the rest. So you have like 6 numbers. If you go through them, you should have now, you'll be fairly very comfortable with the presentation of data. Though the question sometimes will have the word mode, actually the mode and the median, because it's our next discussion, but you could train yourself for now to use the histogram to get them. So unless you have a question, I want us to close today by saying you go and do the exercise on page 20 to 22. If you don't have the book, Mr. Sendaola can share on your WhatsApp, because not all of you have the book, isn't it? Mr. Sendaola has a copy of my book. We'll share. Rahma.
Yes, teacher.
Tell Mr. Sendaola to share from exercise 1A, page 22 to page 22, the numbers there. I'll pick a few and you tell me what you've done and then we proceed.
Somebody will share WhatsApp of that page. Page number.
Before we leave, any questions, Abdurrahman? Before I allow you to go to another class?
No, sir, it's okay.
It's okay? You've got the assignment?
Yes, sir.
Good. Nice week. We meet next week. Keep safe, social distance. Go for, are you supposed to go for vaccination? Are you above 18?
Yes, sir.
Abdurrahman, you're above 18. You go for vaccine. Are you vaccinated?
Yes, sir.
Not yet, not sure. Nagai, have you gone for vaccination?
No, teacher.
Not yet. Okay, you could be under 15. Okay. Okay. Nice week. Revise, read. Start is very interesting and easy. Though even now you can attempt some numbers in the question book bank using what we have discussed. Histogram and cumulative curve. We've got the skills if you revise what we have discussed. Thank you. Let me allow you to leave, and I also allow myself to do other things.